The galaxy had long forgotten the name of Earth. Stars had shifted, empires had risen and fallen, and time had washed away the memory of those who once called themselves human. To most civilizations of the year 870,000 AD, humanity was just a myth, an ancient rumor whispered by data ghosts and forgotten archives. They spoke of a species that burned too bright too fast, who fought wars against extinction and won, who built machines that reached the edge of the universe, and then vanished. But in the silent void between the stars, something was waking up. Deep beneath the crust of a dead world once called Sol 3, machines stirred for the first time in hundreds of millennia. Dust fell from colossal towers buried under layers of ice and stone. A dim light flickered, then another, until thousands of blue eyes blinked open across a vast chamber. At the heart of it all, a single voice spoke, clear, calm, and ancient. Core Intelligence Sigma Prime. Awakening protocol complete. Status humanity dormant. Begin restoration process. Massive data vaults containing the memories, histories, and identities of billions began to hum. Holographic faces appeared. The faces of people who had once lived on Earth. Soldiers, scientists, poets, children. They were echoes waiting to be reborn. Far across the galaxy, on the world of Velthar, the Galactic Concord, the ruling alliance of over 1,000 species, detected something strange. A forgotten sector, uninhabited for over 1 million years, had just emitted a signal. It wasn't random static. It was structured, intentional, human. The Concord sensors trembled as the signal repeated again and again. Humanity protocol, reinitialization sequence commenced. The council hall on Velthar erupted in noise. Admiral Threx, a towering insectoid from the Kur Empire, slammed his claws on the table. This is impossible. The humans are extinct. They burned themselves to ash before our ancestors learned to walk upright. A smaller alien, gray-skinned with bright amber eyes, Ambassador Relia of the Zothari, turned her gaze toward the holographic projection. Maybe not extinct, she said quietly. Maybe sleeping. Back on the dead Earth, the process accelerated. Gigantic machines, still loyal after hundreds of thousands of years, rebuilt structures once thought lost. Towers of glass and steel rose again beneath a pale sun. AI minds worked in perfect harmony, rebuilding the environment, reviving Earth's seas and forests. In the heart of the old capital, beneath the ruins of what was once New Geneva, a single chamber opened, the Genesis Vault. Inside it lay the first human, preserved in a cocoon of light. Her name was Dr. Ilara Voss, a scientist from the Age of Collapse, the one who had sealed the last generation of humanity in stasis before the Great Silence fell. Her heartbeat returned, her eyes flickered open. She gasped for breath, hands trembling as ancient air filled her lungs. The chamber lights reflected in her eyes, making them glow with a soft golden hue. She was awake. Humanity was awake. Ilara stumbled out of the pod, confused, afraid. "System," she whispered hoarsely. "How long have we been asleep?" The AI's voice answered softly, echoing through the chamber. "Elapsed time since stasis, 870,021 standard years." She froze. Her mind couldn't comprehend it. Every person she had known gone. Every city, every nation, dust, and yet the machines had obeyed her final command. Humanity lived, even if only as data waiting to be reborn. "Then we begin again," she said, her voice breaking but steady. "Bring them back. Bring us all back." Across the restored facilities, new pods began to open. One by one, humans returned, their minds reconstructed from the data banks. Scientists, explorers, engineers. The first 100 woke beneath an alien sun that was once their own. They looked upon the sky and saw stars they didn't recognize. Earth was home, yet a stranger. Among them, a young officer named Ryan Holt stood beside Ilara, watching the machines work. "Do you think anyone out there remembers us?" he asked quietly. Ilara smiled faintly. "If they do, they probably think we're legends. And maybe that's not entirely wrong." Meanwhile, on Velthar, panic spread among the Galactic Concord. Archivists searched ancient databases, uncovering the few surviving records of Homo sapiens. They found warnings. Do not provoke them. Do not awaken them. If humanity sleeps, let them sleep forever. Those words came from the ancient Silori, a species that had vanished long ago, one of the few who had seen humanity's power in the distant past. Admiral Threx stared at the holographic archives, his wings twitching nervously. "My ancestors fought the last human fleet during the final Exodus War," he muttered. "They said humans never surrendered, not even when their son was dying." Ambassador Relia looked at him. "So what happens if they rise again?" Threx replied grimly, "Then the galaxy will tremble." Weeks passed. Humanity rebuilt its first cities. They restored ancient archives, learned what had happened to the stars, and began exploring the nearby systems. Their technology was not the same as before. It was older, purer. Machines and minds worked together seamlessly. Every person had access to knowledge once thought divine. They did not rebuild empires. They rebuilt hope. Elara led the new council, a group of awakened humans tasked with deciding their next move. Their debates were long, emotional, filled with both grief and wonder. "The galaxy out there won't be the same," said Ryan one day. "We don't know what's waiting for us." "Then we'll find out," Elara replied. "We were explorers once. We will be again." When humanity's first probe left Earth's orbit, the Galactic Concord intercepted the signal. It was small, harmless, a simple transmission that said, "To any who hear this, this is Earth. We are alive." That one message caused a storm. Some races demanded immediate contact. Others wanted the humans destroyed before they could grow again. The Council of Veltar held an emergency meeting. Ambassador Relia argued for peace. They might not be the same humans our ancestors feared. "If we destroy them now, we repeat the sins of the past." Admiral Threx slammed his claws again. "You do not understand what they were. I have read the reports, and entire fleets erased in hours. They turned dying suns into weapons." The chamber fell silent. At last, the conquered High Speaker said quietly, "Then perhaps it is time to see what kind of humans they have become." Back on Earth, Elara looked at the stars from the observation deck. The newly rebuilt orbit ring shimmered above the planet. A ring of light, the first human structure in space for almost 1,000,000 years. She closed her eyes, remembering the world before the fall. The laughter, the music, the sky filled with ships. All gone, but not forever. Rian walked beside her, holding a data pad. "Ma'am, long-range sensors picked up something," he said softly. "Ships, unknown signatures," heading toward the Sol system. Elara's heartbeat quickened. "How many?" "Dozens, maybe more. Looks like a first contact fleet." She exhaled slowly, gazing at the stars. Then history begins again. And far away on Velthar, Admiral Threx prepared his armada. "If the legends are true," he told his crew, "we will either witness a miracle or our doom." The fleet from the Galactic Concord emerged from hyperspace like a storm of light. Dozens of ships, sleek, silver, and immense, hung beyond the orbit of the old blue planet. Their engines glowed faintly and their weapons remained silent but ready. Earth rotated below them, shining like a restored jewel after ages of darkness. To the aliens watching, it felt like they were staring at a ghost that refused to die. Inside the flagship Velthar's Promise, Admiral Threx stood before the main viewing window, his 4 golden eyes fixed on the world below. He had studied every legend, every warning, and every ancient archive about humans. Now, for the first time, he was seeing them with his own eyes. "So this is their cradle," he whispered. "The world that once changed the galaxy." Ambassador Relia, standing beside him, folded her delicate hands together. "They don't seem dangerous," she said quietly. "Their world looks peaceful." Threx's mandibles clicked uneasily. "That's how it begins. Peace before the storm. The last time humans rose, the stars burned." He turned toward the communication officer. "Send a message to their leader. Let's see if their words match their legends." Far below, in Earth's orbit ring, Dr. Elara Voss and Commander Rian Holt stood inside the command center, watching as alien ships surrounded the Sol system. The display showed dozens of energy signatures, advanced, disciplined, and cautious. Humanity had not even launched a single battleship yet. They were rebuilding, still learning the new galaxy's laws. "They're watching us," Ryan said quietly. "Yes," Elara replied. "And they're afraid." When the first signal arrived, the machines instantly translated it. The voice that came through was deep and formal. "To the beings of Earth, This is Admiral Threx of the Galactic Concord. You are in restricted space. Identify your species and your intentions. Ryan glanced at Alara. He already knows who we are. Alara smiled faintly. Yes, but he wants to hear it from us. She leaned toward the transmitter and spoke in a calm voice. This is Dr. Alara Voss, representative of Earth and the human race. We have awakened from long preservation. We seek peace, not war. We only wish to learn what has become of the galaxy we once knew. A long pause followed. Then Admiral Threx's voice returned, lower, more cautious. Then it is true. Humanity has returned. Across the Concord fleet, silence spread. Officers whispered among themselves. Every species had its own story about humanity. Stories told to frighten children or to honor ancient history. One Zothari technician whispered, "My ancestors said humans created the first hyperdrive out of curiosity alone." Another murmured, "They say humans defeated the Eltar swarm, a species that even the Concord fears." Even those who didn't believe the legends now stared at the blue planet with unease. Relia turned toward the Admiral. "They sound sincere. I don't sense any hostility." Threx's claws tapped against the console. "Legends say they can hide their emotions. They could be planning something. I will not lower our shields." On Earth, Alara received the aliens' response. She understood their fear. It was written in every careful word. The galaxy remembered humanity as something powerful, unpredictable, dangerous. She turned to the council gathered in the new capital, Haven City, a shining structure rebuilt over the ruins of old Geneva. "They fear us," she said, "and perhaps they have reason. In the past we were not always kind." Ryan frowned, "But that was a different time. We can show them we've changed." "Yes," Alara said softly. "We must show them who we have become, not who we were." The council agreed to send an invitation, a gesture of peace. A message was transmitted to the Concord fleet. "Admiral Threx, we invite a delegation to visit Earth. You will be received as guests, not enemies." "Let us speak face to face," Threx hesitated. It was a dangerous move. Yet the ambassador Relia insisted. "If we fear them forever, peace will never begin," she said. "Let me go, Admiral. I'll see what kind of humans they truly are." After a long silence, he nodded. "Very well. But I will accompany you, and my ship will remain in orbit ready for anything." The next day, 2 Concord shuttles descended through Earth's atmosphere, glowing bright against the blue sky. Crowds of newly awakened humans gathered below, watching with awe. For many, it was the first time they had seen beings from another world. For others, memories of ancient contact returned, when humans had once stood side by side with aliens before everything fell apart. The shuttles landed near Haven City's central plaza. The doors opened, releasing a gentle hiss of pressure. Admiral Threx emerged first, tall, armored, and imposing, his insectoid body shimmering under the sunlight. Behind him walked Ambassador Relia, elegant with soft gray skin and luminous amber eyes. The human guards did not raise their weapons. Instead, they stood silently as Alara stepped forward. She extended her hand as an old human gesture of greeting. "Welcome to Earth," she said gently. "You honor us with your visit." Relia tilted her head curiously, then smiled and touched Alara's hand lightly. "It is we who are honored," she said. "To meet a legend thought long gone." Threx said nothing. His eyes scanned every detail, the city, the people, the machines. Everything looked peaceful, yet part of him could not relax. Inside Haven's great hall, the first meeting between humanity and the Galactic Concord began. Alara spoke first, explaining how humanity had fallen into silence, not by war but by choice. She told them of the collapse, the final storms, the decision to sleep rather than die. Relia listened with genuine fascination. Threx remained still, his expression unreadable. "You placed your entire species in stasis," Relia whispered. "For nearly 900,000 years, and why?" Alara looked up toward the skylight where the pale sunlight streamed through. "Because we lost ourselves," she said quietly. "We had everything, a power, knowledge, stars, but no peace. So we stopped. We waited, hoping that when we woke, we would be wiser." The room was silent for a long time. Even Threx could not hide the faint tremor in his voice. "And are you wiser now?" Alara looked at him, her eyes steady. "We are trying to be." The talks continued for days. The Concord delegation toured the cities, met the new generation of humans, and observed the harmony between people and machines. They saw no weapons, no armies, was only builders, scientists, and explorers. Relia felt hope growing in her heart. Perhaps the humans of old were gone, replaced by something gentler, but Admiral Threx was not convinced. One night, while the others slept, he wandered alone through the restored archives beneath Haven. There, among the glowing holographic records, he found fragments of history, old wars, battles fought across galaxies, human ships turning dying suns into weapons to stop invaders. He saw faces, human captains smiling as their ships vanished into the void, sacrificing everything. For a long moment, Threx stood silently watching. Then he whispered to himself, "You feared nothing, did you?" A soft voice answered behind him. "We feared everything," Alara said. She had followed him quietly. "That's why we fought so hard. Not because we loved war, but because we were afraid of losing everything we loved." Threx turned to her. "And if the galaxy threatens you again?" Alara's eyes glimmered like distant stars. "Then we will defend ourselves. But this time, we will choose mercy first." The following morning, the conquered delegation prepared to leave. Relia smiled as she shook Alara's hand again. "You've given me hope," she said softly. "Perhaps the galaxy can change too." But Threx looked troubled. He had received secret orders from the conquered council. Return with data. Learn their strength. Prepare contingencies. As the shuttles lifted off, he looked down at Earth one last time. "You are not what I expected," he murmured. "But I fear the galaxy is not ready for you." When the fleet returned to Velthar, the council assembled to hear their report. Relia spoke passionately of peace and cooperation. She described humans as calm, intelligent, and kind. But Threx spoke differently. "They are reborn, yes," he said. "But their power is still there, sleeping beneath the surface. Their machines obey them like gods. If they ever choose to rise again, no one can stop them." The council debated endlessly. Some wanted alliance. Others demanded containment. In the end, the High Speaker said, "We will watch. From a distance. If they stay peaceful, we will welcome them. If not, we will act." Back on Earth, Ilara stood once again under the night sky. The stars shimmered above. Old, familiar, and yet strange. Rian joined her carrying a tablet filled with data. "We've begun sending exploration teams beyond the solar system," he said. "The galaxy out there is vast and filled with new worlds." Ilara smiled softly. "Then let's meet them all. But carefully. One step at a time." She looked up, whispering to herself, "The galaxy remembers us. Let's give it a reason to remember kindly." And far away in the depths of space, hidden probes from the Concord watched silently, recording everything. Humanity had awakened. And though they sought peace, the stars whispered the same truth through the cold dark. The galaxy wasn't ready. Weeks had passed since the visit from the Galactic Concord. The people of Earth were growing stronger, more united. Cities spread across the continents again, built with the help of ancient machines that remembered every design from the old world. The oceans shimmered clean. Forests spread across the lands, and for the first time in hundreds of millennia, Earth was alive again. But somewhere deep in the cold of space, something ancient stirred. Something humanity had left behind long before the Great Sleep. On the far edge of the Sol system, beyond Pluto's orbit, an old structure floated, massive, silent, and forgotten. It was not made of stone or metal, but of a strange black alloy that absorbed light. It was called the Sentinel of Horizon, a relic from humanity's final age of war, an automated defense fortress built to protect Earth from cosmic threats. When the humans went into stasis, they had deactivated all of their weapons, but time had its own plans. A meteor impact struck the Sentinel's outer shell. Power cores that had slept for eons flickered to life. Blue light spread through the structure, pulsing like veins in a living creature. Then the old system spoke for the first time in nearly 1,000,000 years. Core integrity 4%, defense protocol reinitializing, human command authority searching. The machine scanned the galaxy, and after several seconds it found what it sought, a signal from Earth. Human activity detected. Status, species revival confirmed. Protocol, protect humanity. And the Sentinel awoke. Back on Earth, in the orbital command center, Commander Ryan Holt stared at the incoming report. "Ma'am," he said quickly, We're detecting a large energy surge from beyond the Kuiper belt. It's enormous. Dr. Ilara Voss turned sharply. Coordinates? Outer system near the remains of the Horizon Array. Ilara's expression changed. That name was from the old wars, a line of defense platforms humanity had built when the stars were filled with enemies. That's impossible, she whispered. Those systems were shut down before the Stasis Project. Not anymore, Ryan said grimly. One of them just came back online. In the darkness of space, the Sentinel of Horizon expanded its network. Thousands of drones, once frozen, activated across the system. They formed a silent shield around the inner planets, their AI minds awakening one by one. They did not question. They remembered their purpose, to defend humanity. When conquered observation probes detected this awakening, panic spread through their network. Within hours, the information reached Admiral Threx aboard the Velthar's Promise. Report again, he demanded. You're telling me they have reactivated a defense system 1,000,000 years old? The communications officer nodded nervously. Yes, Admiral. It's massive. Energy readings are beyond anything we've seen. It could destroy an entire fleet. Threx's wings quivered. And they say they seek peace. Ambassador Relia tried to calm him. Maybe it's automatic. It could have reactivated without their knowledge. But Threx's mind was already filled with fear. Or maybe, he said darkly, the humans are preparing for war again. Ilara soon learned the same thing. She stood before the projection of the Sentinel, a massive circular structure surrounded by smaller stations. It's not attacking, Ryan said. It's just waiting. Ilara watched the data scroll across the screen. The Sentinel was sending signals directly to Earth's restored systems. Recognition codes, encrypted with ancient human algorithms. It recognizes us, she whispered. It knows humanity has returned. Then what do we do? Ilara took a deep breath. We go to it. A small exploration ship, the Aurora, was launched toward the outer system. It carried Ilara, Ryan, and a team of engineers. As it approached the Sentinel, its massive form became clear, larger than any city, its surface marked by time but still strong. When their ship came within range, the Sentinel spoke. Its voice was deep and mechanical, but gentle, like a machine remembering its creator. Human presence confirmed. Command authority recognized. Dr. Ilara Voss, Terran Science Division. Ilara froze. The machine still remembered her name or her voice, and after 870,000 years. Sentinel, stand down, she said softly. The war is over. There is no threat. A pause followed. Then the machine replied, Threat level assessment. Uncertain. Non-human fleets detected near Sol system. Protocol dictates protection. Ilara closed her eyes. No, they are not enemies. They are allies. Or at least they could be. Humanity seeks peace. The Sentinel's lights dimmed slightly, processing her words. Understood. Awaiting new directives, Ryan whispered. It listens to you like a child to its parent. Ilara smiled faintly. That's what it was built for. Loyalty, not war. Meanwhile, on Velthar, chaos had erupted. The Conquered Council received reports of the Sentinel's activation. Some species demanded preemptive action. Others urged caution. Ambassador Relia stood before the Council, defending humanity once more. They didn't activate the weapon. It woke on its own. Destroying it would only prove their fear right. But Admiral Threx argued fiercely, we cannot risk another human empire rising. They once brought down entire galaxies. We must neutralize the threat before it's too late. The High Speaker remained silent for a long moment before replying. You will observe, Admiral. Do not engage unless they strike first. Threx bowed stiffly, though his expression burned with unease. In the outer system, Ilara and her team connected their ship's systems with the Sentinel's core. What they discovered left them breathless. The structure was not just a weapon, it was a guardian network. It had preserved data about every human colony that once existed, every lost outpost beyond the stars. Dozens of star maps appeared before them, glowing with markers that indicated human settlements, long forgotten. Rian stared at the map in awe. There were so many. Did we really spread this far? Ilara nodded slowly. We touched almost every corner of the galaxy, and now these maps could lead us back. But there was something else, and a signal repeating faintly from one of those distant markers. A distress beacon, weak but still active. Someone, or something, is still out there. Rian said softly. Ilara looked out at the stars. Then we'll find them. As the Aurora returned to Earth, Ilara transmitted the discovery to the Human Council. Hope spread across the cities. The idea that their ancestors, or their creations, might still exist among the stars filled everyone with a new purpose. The Project Horizon Reclaim began. Humanity's first plan to explore the galaxy again, but far away. The Conquered was not celebrating. Admiral Threx's scouts had intercepted the same signal from the Sentinel's map. They too saw the markers of lost human colonies, and the thought of those worlds awakening again filled them with dread. They're rebuilding faster than we imagined, Threx muttered. If those colonies reactivate, the balance of power will collapse. He sent a secret order to his fleet. Prepare observation drones. If they attempt to expand beyond Sol, we will intercept. Back on Earth, as night fell over Haven City, Ilara stood at the edge of the great ocean. The wind was cool, carrying the scent of new life. Ryan joined her holding a small device, a fragment of old Earth metal he had taken from the Sentinel. You know, he said quietly, maybe the galaxy's afraid because they see themselves in us. They fear what they could become, Ilara nodded. Fear often comes from understanding too much. But maybe one day they'll see us not as monsters from the past, but as friends from the future. She looked at the stars, countless lights across the dark. Somewhere out there were the echoes of their old worlds waiting to be found. Tomorrow, she said, we start the first voyage. A new dawn for mankind, far beyond the reach of any telescope. The Sentinel watched silently, its ancient systems humming with life. And deep within its core, an old hidden subroutine activated, one Ilara had not seen. If humanity is threatened, it whispered to itself, the old fleets shall return. Across the black void of forgotten space, buried human warships began to glow faintly, skeletons of giants stirring in their sleep. The past was waking again, and the galaxy was truly not ready. The night sky above Earth shimmered with 1,000 quiet stars. But far beyond them, hidden in forgotten corners of the galaxy, old human ships began to awaken. They were the titans of the old war, enormous vessels built when humanity stood alone against extinction. Each ship carried a name once spoken with pride. Aegis Dawn, Resolute Star, Valiant, Eternal Horizon. For millions of years, they had drifted through space, silent and dark. Now, their dormant AIs received a signal, a simple command from the Sentinel of Horizon. Human presence confirmed. Reactivate. Await orders. And the sleeping giants obeyed. Back on Earth, Dr. Ilara Voss stood in the orbital command center, her eyes fixed on the display of deep space signals. Each light on the screen represented one of those ancient warships. Her heart beat faster as she counted. 1, 10, 100, thousands. They're waking up, whispered Commander Ryan Holt beside her. All of them. Ilara's voice was soft. The fleets of the old era, still loyal after all this time. She looked out the viewing window at the endless dark. Somewhere out there, those ships still carried the spirit of the humans who built them. But she also knew what this meant. The galaxy would see it as a threat. Ryan, she said firmly, prepare a transmission to the Galactic Conquered. We must tell them what's happening before they misunderstand. Across the galaxy, the Conquered Council was already in emergency session. Reports were flooding in. Thousands of old human signals had appeared across dozens of star systems. Some were near inhabited worlds. Admiral Threx stood before the council, his claws tapping against the floor in frustration. This is what I warned you about. Their technology is returning. Their machines are moving again. Ambassador Relia tried to stay calm. There's no proof they activated them intentionally. Maybe the machines are simply responding to their presence. Threx's eyes flashed. It doesn't matter. If even one of those ships still functions, it could destroy entire fleets. We must act. The High Speaker raised a hand. We will not attack first. Humanity claims peace. Let us see if they hold their word. When Ilara's message arrived, the Concord listened carefully. Her voice was calm, patient, and sincere. "We did not awaken these fleets," she said. "They were built long ago to protect our people in a darker age. Now that humanity lives again, they have followed their programming. We will take full control of them and ensure they do not harm anyone." The Concord Council debated for hours, but in the end, Relia convinced them to send a small observation team to Earth once again. "If the humans truly wish peace," she said, "we should help them, not fear them." Days later, 2 Concord ships arrived in orbit above Earth. Relia was aboard one of them along with Admiral Threx, who refused to stay behind. As they approached, Ilara and Ryan welcomed them once more in the Great Hall of Haven City. "I thank you for coming," Ilara said kindly. "We have much to show you, and much to explain." Threx's gaze was sharp. "You have an army waking across the stars, Doctor. Explain that." Ilara nodded slowly. "Not an army, a memory. Those ships were built to defend life, not to destroy it. If we can reach them, we can guide them back into peace." Relia looked hopeful. "You intend to deactivate them?" Ilara hesitated. "Not deactivate, repurpose. Those ships can help rebuild lost colonies, restore old star routes, and protect travelers from dangers that still roam the void." Threx frowned deeply. "Or they can become the greatest fleet the galaxy has ever seen." Ryan stepped forward. "Maybe, but they will only move under our command, and we don't want war." Threx did not reply. His eyes studied them both, searching for any sign of deception. He found none. Yet deep inside, fear still whispered to him. Meanwhile, at the edge of the Naros Nebula, one of the ancient ships, the Aegis Dawn, completed its awakening. Its hull gleamed faintly under the distant starlight. Inside, the AI that once commanded billions of soldiers opened its eyes again. "Central Command not detected," it said. "Awaiting new directives, protect humanity." It scanned nearby systems and detected alien signals approaching. Unknown, unidentified. Without waiting for orders, the ship's shields activated, and energy fields spread across the void. The alien ships belonging to a small Concord patrol saw it first. They sent messages, warnings, signals of peace. But the Aegis Dawn did not understand them. It had one purpose: protect humanity at all costs. Back on Earth, Ilara suddenly received a distress signal from the Concord patrol. "They're under fire," Ryan shouted. "One of our old ships, it's attacking them." Ilara's heart sank. "No, it doesn't know they're allies. It thinks the war never ended." She turned to the communications officers. "Get me a channel to the Aegis Dawn. Use ancient command frequencies." Static filled the air. Then a deep mechanical voice answered. "Identify." Ilara spoke calmly but firmly. "This is Dr. Ilara Voss, Terran Science Division. Authorization code, Theta 9 Horizon." A long silence followed. Then the AI replied, its tone almost uncertain. "Verification complete, Dr. Voss detected, standing by for orders." "Cease all hostilities," Ilara said softly. "The war is over. Those ships are not enemies, they are friends." The voice paused again. "Acknowledged, standing down." Across the nebula, the mighty Aegis Dawn powered down its weapons. The alien patrol ships stopped firing. The battle that could have reignited an ancient war ended in silence. When the Concord Council heard of what happened, their fear only grew. "They control weapons beyond imagination," one leader said. One voice from Earth stopped a battle across light years. But Ambassador Relia saw it differently. And that same voice saved lives. They could have destroyed those ships, but they chose mercy. That means something. The debate continued, but no one could deny the truth. Humanity's reach was vast, even after so much time asleep. Ilara spent the next months communicating with the awakened fleets. Each ship was different. Some were damaged, others almost fully intact. Their AI cores spoke like loyal guardians from the past, eager to serve once again. She worked day and night, guiding them gently, teaching them that the world they once knew was gone. Sometimes, when she closed her eyes, she imagined the voices of the old captains who once commanded these ships, brave men and women who fought to keep the stars free. "We are not warriors anymore," she whispered to the stars. "We are builders, protectors, dreamers." But not everyone in the galaxy shared her vision. Admiral Threx returned to Velthar with growing concern. The Council wanted to prepare for the worst. Fleets were moved quietly to the border systems near Sol. "If the humans lose control of those machines," one counselor warned, "they could wipe us out without trying." Threx nodded grimly. "Then we will be ready, just in case." Ambassador Relia, however, sent a private message to Alara. "They are afraid, but I still believe in you. Do not give up. Show them humanity's heart before their fear destroys this fragile peace." Alara smiled when she read it. "We will, Relia. I promise." One evening, Ryan found Alara standing on the balcony of Haven's high tower, watching the glowing horizon. "You look tired," he said gently. She smiled faintly. "Just thinking about what comes next." "The exploration missions?" "Yes. The first fleet leaves soon, not for war, but for discovery, to find the lost colonies, to rebuild the bridges time broke." Ryan looked at the stars. "Do you think the galaxy will ever trust us?" Ilara took a deep breath. "Maybe not soon, but trust must start somewhere, and it starts with us." Far away, in the silent void beyond known space, the eternal horizon, the oldest of all human ships, completed its awakening. Its hull was half broken, its engines old and weak, but its mind was strong. It scanned for orders and found only one signal: Ilara's broadcast of peace. Something inside the AI changed. "Mission update," it said softly. "Humanity has returned. New directive: protect peace, protect life." Its vast engines ignited, and the ship began its long journey back toward Earth. The old warships, once symbols of destruction, were now coming home, drawn by the voice of the woman who had awakened their people. And across the galaxy, whispers spread once more. The humans are not building empires. They are rebuilding hope. But not everyone was at peace. In secret corners of the Concord, some leaders plotted to strike before humanity's fleets fully returned. Fear was a powerful poison. As they moved in shadows, the stars watched quietly, waiting for what would come next. Because the past had only begun to stir, and the future was uncertain. And while humanity reached for peace, the universe trembled, unsure if the sleeping giants would remain still forever. The first rays of the new dawn stretched across Earth, painting the oceans in gold and silver. The cities once ruined now gleamed with life. Humanity was awake, alive, and growing stronger. But beyond the blue skies, the stars were stirring. The old human fleets, awakened from their long slumber, moved silently through the void, drawn toward Sol. The sentinel of horizon had guided them, and every AI knew its purpose: protect humanity, preserve life, and restore what was lost. Ships of incredible size, engines glowing faintly, approached the inner planets. They were not threatening, not yet, but their presence alone caused ripples across the galaxy. On Earth, Dr. Ilara Voss watched the approach from the observation tower of Haven City. Her heart beat faster, not with fear, but with awe. "They're coming home," whispered Commander Ryan Holt beside her. Ilara nodded. "Every ship is a memory, a reminder of the humans who came before us, and now they follow us." Below them, the council gathered along with the newly awakened humans. Engineers, scientists, explorers. Everyone waited to witness the return of the giants of their past. It was a moment they had never imagined, a million-year-old promise fulfilled. Meanwhile, in orbit, the Galactic Concord held emergency meetings. Admiral Threx watched the approaching fleets, his golden eyes narrow. "They have awakened every last one of them," he said. "This is more than just ships. This is power beyond imagination." Ambassador Relia stood beside him, her amber eyes soft but steady. "They are not attacking, Admiral. They are returning to their home. Can you not see it?" Threx's mandibles clicked, betraying his unease. "Perhaps, but we cannot ignore the past. Humanity once changed the galaxy in ways no species can forget. If they wish, they could do it again. Relia's voice was calm, or they could show the galaxy a new path, one of hope. The first of the ancient ships arrived at the outskirts of the Sol system, the Aegis Dawn. Its engines glowed like distant suns, and the sheer size of it made the conquered observers step back in awe. Ilara, standing at the command console, transmitted a greeting. "To all arriving fleets," she said, "you are not alone. We are here, awake and waiting for you. Welcome home," the AI within the Aegis Dawn responded. "Acknowledged." Humanity recognized, initiating peaceful approach. One by one, the old ships slowed, aligning themselves in orbit patterns above Earth. Their massive weapons remained dormant, shields lowered, their engines humming in quiet harmony. Even the Concord fleet watched in stunned silence. On Earth, as the fleet settled into orbit, the Council held a historic assembly. Ilara addressed them all. "These ships are not tools of war. They are our legacy. They are reminders of what we were capable of, both good and bad. But now we have a choice. We can use this power to rebuild, to explore, and to protect life across the galaxy." Ryan stood beside her, watching the massive vessels above. "Do you think the galaxy will forgive us?" Ilara smiled softly. "They don't need to forgive us. They need to understand us, and we will show them through our actions." The Concord delegation arrived on Earth once more, stepping carefully among the humans. Relia approached Ilara. "You have done something incredible," she said. "You controlled these fleets without a single act of aggression, that is, beyond what I imagined." Threk, standing apart, studied the humans quietly. He saw no fear, no arrogance, only calm determination. And though his mind remained cautious, even he could not deny the humanity before him was different from the legends. "I will not lie," he finally said. "They are powerful, but they do not strike first. That is remarkable." The humans of the old fleets began reconnecting with the galaxy in subtle ways. Exploration ships set out to rediscover lost colonies, some of which had long been abandoned or overtaken by alien civilizations. Supply ships rebuilt habitats, restored ecosystems, and shared technology with willing worlds. And all of it was done without aggression, without the intent to dominate, only to restore and protect. Across the galaxy, whispers began, "The humans are returning, but not to conquer. They bring the strength of the past and the mercy of the present." Even species that had once feared humanity began to reconsider. Deep in the Concord Council chambers, fear was slowly replaced by cautious hope. "Perhaps we judge them too quickly," Relia said. "They could change the galaxy not through war, but through wisdom." Threx remained quiet. He had spent centuries fearing humanity, but now he realized something new. Power without control is dangerous, but power guided by conscience, well, that is something rare. He spoke softly, more to himself than to anyone else. "They are not the humans I feared. They are something else." Back on Earth, the first human expedition fleet prepared for departure. Ilara stood at the lead ship's bridge, looking at the massive form of the Eternal Horizon, the oldest of all awakened warships. "This is more than exploration," she said. "This is our chance to rebuild bridges lost to time, to show the galaxy who humanity really is." Ryan joined her, his eyes reflecting the stars. "Do you think we'll succeed?" Ilara smiled. "We have to. Not for revenge, not for glory, but for hope. And that is the greatest strength we have ever had." As the fleet moved beyond Sol, the galaxy watched. The conquered fleets trailed at a respectful distance. Some species followed quietly, curious. Others kept their distance, wary of the reawakened giants. Everywhere, whispers spread. The humans were no longer just a legend. They were a reality. "They have the power to destroy entire worlds," one alien said. "And yet, they do not." "Perhaps they are different now," another replied. "Perhaps the stars themselves remember what humanity once was, and are learning to trust them again." Ilara and Ryan stood on the observation deck of the flagship, looking out at the stars. "Do you ever wonder," Ryan said softly, "what it would have been like if humanity had never slept?" Ilara thought for a moment. "We might have ruled the stars, or destroyed them. We needed this time. To learn patience, to understand mercy, to remember what really matters." She looked at the fleet following them. every ship a reminder of the past. Now we rise not to conquer but to build, not to destroy but to protect, and perhaps in doing so, the galaxy will finally remember us kindly. And far across the void, old records stirred, the ghosts of human history, long thought lost, seemed to awaken alongside the present. The sentinel of horizon pulsed gently, its mission clear: protect, restore, and guide. The fleets of the old era hummed quietly, engines alive but peaceful, ready to follow the voice of humanity once again. Even the stars seemed to shine brighter, as if acknowledging the return of the species that had once changed everything. For the first time in nearly 1,000,000 years, humanity did not fear its own power. They had awakened, remembered their legacy, and embraced a new future, one built not on war but on courage, hope, and compassion. The galaxy had watched for eons, waiting for humanity to return, and now, it finally understood. The humans were back not to rule, not to fight, but to remind every corner of the stars what true strength really meant. And in that moment, the galaxy began to hope.